is quietly building Trump's concentration camps. A repurposed Navy contract to funnel tens of billions to ICE for a nationwide ghost network of concentration camps just got bigger. During this partial government shutdown, the Department of Homeland Security is quietly supercharging its detention infrastructure. Of course, they're doing this while we're distracted with everything else. Task orders allow DHS to bypass the months-long public bidding process for every new facility. What are these concentration camps? They are soft-sided tent cities, capable of housing up to 10,000 people each. They'll have earth-filled defensive barriers, 8-foot-high Conex box walls, and a weather-resistant guard shacks. And get this, the services extend to medical waste management, with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators. One has to wonder why these tent cities are being built when they're supposed to be deporting these people. So if they're deporting the illegal immigrants, then why are these tent cities being built all over America? I'll give you a hint. U.S. Department of Homeland Security requests Google, Reddit, Instagram, and Facebook to provide names, phone numbers, and other identifying information of users who criticize ICE. I wonder what this list will be for. Now, we already know that a lot of the ICE agents have been trained by who? The IDF. And now we're getting tent cities. You know who else has tent cities? Gaza. After the destruction that happened there, these people have to live in tents. So one has to ask, what is coming to America? Do y'all remember when Trump was talking about the Board of Peace? He said that he is backing a newly appointed Palestinian technocratic government there. Y'all know I've been talking about the North American technate and this technocracy that they are wanting to bring to America. Grandfather of Elon Musk started in the 1930s. It has Greenland, Canada, America, Mexico, and Venezuela. They're already starting that in Gaza. And it looks like soon it'll be here too. Listen up. How the Pentagon is quietly building Trump's concentration camp.
Temperature control shortly. 我们的波士顿动力机器人在哪儿？这就是我们国内最先进的机器人。这就是我们融资了几百亿的产品吗？我们还是投降吧。
All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakar Kadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, whom taught me this truth. Salutes and honors to the elect brothers across the four corners who are enduring in both truth and in sincerity. All the men and women who follow. This is the brother Kratazah from the Fountain of Living Waters, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. This lesson being entitled Martial Laws Coming Soon / We Need Spiritual Power. So I had a couple of videos. It started off with let's go to back to the first video, and you had this lady talking about the concentration camps that are coming. All right. And she mentioned 10 cities with the boxes. So she mentioned let me pull this over here. It's called a Conex box, right? Which is pretty much like a shipping container, you know. So it's gonna be lined with these shipping containers, and then the tents within it. So if you didn't catch what she was saying, we've been speaking about the martial law, and I remember back in like the 2007, 2008, 2009, they had the coffin liners out there in I believe it was Georgia, and we've been speaking about this for a long time, and it's coming to a head now. It's everything that's going on. With the frozen water people, and then especially with these robotics, the AI and the humanoid robotics, that's a whole workforce. Not only are they looking to replace the workforce of the world, but the armed forces as well, because why risk human life when you can send millions of robots to war, and whoever got the better robots is going to win. But they can also use those robots to police society, to enforce society. That's why I shared the because this is what we see them doing. They're just dancing or whatnot, but that fighting, that dexterity, American robots can't do that shit. And that's why, they shared this AI video with them, the same looking kind of robots, because it's a robot. It's like they said in Predator, you're a tool. A robot is a tool to do the bidding for somebody else. All right, that's someone else's Esau. So if they flood the streets with these robots, have everything powered by the 5G, and then add to that, you got your Ring door cameras, between the robots and the 5G and the Ring door cameras. Yes, you'll have eyes everywhere. You'll be in your communal cities or whatnot, and in your local neighborhood, not just like the main streets, but the back streets. You can have robots walking up and down, patrolling. Like they had beat cops back in the day. You might not know what a beat cop is. I'm kind of telling my age. Let's see if we can get a picture of it. Okay, I guess it was a game called Beat Cop. Bear with me here. Right, so a beat cop is a cop or a police officer assigned to patrol a specific, consistent, often small geographic area known as a beat. All right, primarily on foot or by bicycle rather than a patrol car. They focus on community policing, building relationships with residents, deterring crime through visibility, and addressing neighborhood quality of life issues, right? So, just those cops on foot, just walking their beat. That's what a beat, and you can have the robots are doing this, just walking the beat, doing exactly what it says that they do, policing, looking for deterrence of crime or whatever, and whatever they decide crime is in that time. Because look at what's the movie with was it Pre-Crime? Minority Report with Tom Cruise. If you think about doing a crime, it's illegal. So who's to say what is or what isn't a crime, in that time? But I'll tell you this. Let's grab this scripture real quick. 2nd Esdras chapter 15, and I'll start at verse 16. I'll start at 15. It says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So you are going to have this overwhelming feeling of the 1% versus the 99, men versus women, black versus white. There's so many divides in this country. All right, it's all gonna just blow up in our faces, so to speak. All right, and nobody's gonna regard the authority of police or government, and they're gonna have to curtail everybody. They're gonna have to get control of the reins again. And this is a prime way to do it. They're going to have to bring in that martial law. They're going to have to bring in a force. Yeah, they got the frozen water people, but people, you can reason with people. A person can see a struggling mom, can't feed her baby and have compassion and help her out. A robot's not going to do it. A robot has a job to do. It's just going to get the job done. There's no emotion, no feelings behind it. It's just, doing what they're told. It's just an input. Like I said, they're a tool. So that tool is just going to serve its purpose. It says the man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city should be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men should be afraid. Right? So you're not going to be able to just go anywhere you want, anytime you want. They're talking about 10,000 people in a little tent city, and they're building these all over the country. Let's watch this video one more time.
Camps. A repurposed Navy contract to funnel tens of billions to ICE for a nationwide ghost network of concentration camps just got bigger. During this partial government shutdown, the Department of Homeland Security is quietly supercharging its detention infrastructure. Of course, they're doing
$10 billion. They're using $10 billion to do this. A lot of money.
This while we're distracted with everything else. Task orders allow DHS to bypass the months-long public bidding process for every new facility. What are these concentration camps? They are soft-sided tent cities.
Let me see. Contractors are tasked with providing soft-sided tent cities capable of housing up to 10,000 people. The contract's line items include everything from 300 square meter closed tents with 1,000 lux lighting to large barbecue grill and industrial scale shower facilities. Right, just like what's that ICE concentration camp down in Florida? They had it down in the Everglades. Now they talking about there was no ICE camp in Florida. Nigga, shut the fuck up. Google be lying. and then show me the fucking truth the whole time. Alligator Alcatraz, that's what it was called, you know. And I did a video, a little while ago over, Alligator Alcatraz and the conditions that were in there. So this is just like a smaller version of it. They got these campers. That's probably where, like the help stays, so to speak. The actual officers or whatnot stay in their little campers, and then the prisoners sleep in the tents. But like I said, this is just a smaller version of what they had. This is just, you see this little rinky-dink fence that they got around it? No, they said that they're gonna come with these container units, around it. Yeah, you ain't getting through that. You might could hop this fence or cut through it or something like that. You're not getting through that other one. So, these people have their ducks in a row, and they're just playing their cards. All right. So, hey, we got to play our card, which is, Yahweh Shem Yahshai. Because the scripture says, Isaiah 59:19, so they should fear the name of the Lord from the west and the glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. And trust and believe they're gonna come. Trust and believe they're gearing up right now. So, and this is why I say we're gonna need spiritual powers, because who can combat against this? Who can fight? Who can really fight against this? The goddamn airplane couldn't fight against it. Now, who's to say that they can really do all of that? That's to be, determined. But we seen them niggas dancing, and the fluidity of their movement. This ain't no Edomite robot. But look at that fluidity. Look at that. And he's already a killing machine. You put a gun in that, you put a gun in his hand, and, he's a full-blown weapon, to the umpteenth power. We're not going to be able to deal with this, as a man. The Lord said that, you will not meet him as a man. Hey, we can't meet these people as a man. The Lord is going to have to put that spirit on us. All right. So we have to do what we need to do to receive that spirit, man. We have to stay prayed up, stay in His truth, keep our eyes on the prize, man, because it's not too much longer we're going to have to be here. All right. This devil's going to make his move here pretty soon. So, just stay in the spirit with that, because it's not going to be nothing nice in that day. All right. If you ain't got the love and the care of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, then it's curtains for you, man. As the scripture says, Matthew 24:12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So you're not going to be able to depend on your neighbor down the street who's a police officer. You're not going to be able to depend on Miss Bradley across the street. I know she'll give me some food. No, Miss Bradley taking care of her and her kids. Miss Bradley got that thing. If somebody try to come in here, she gonna blow their head off. Same thing with everyone else, man. Everyone's gonna take care of their own. Okay. And scripture say that too. Let's get that before we go. I think that's Isaiah 13. Yeah, Isaiah 13 and 14, it says, and it should be as a chase roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. right? So it's going to be so much confusion. It says like a chase roll, like a deer. Imagine like a jaguar or a cheetah is like chasing a impala around the Serengeti. You know, it's very they're weaving in and out. You know, that's what it's saying. People are going to be, you know, panicking. It's going to be panic. That's the best word to put. You know, panic. You know, people scattering like roaches. You know, it says, and everyone's going to turn to his own people. Everybody's going to depend on the people that they've been there. You know, if you wasn't shooting with them in the gym, you know, you're probably not going to be on their squad that day. You know, everyone's going to depend on their own selves. And, you know, hey, what the scripture say? Give me a second here. Yeah, it says, yeah, there's another one though. It says, everyone that should be found should be thrust through, and everyone that is joined into them should fall by the sword. You know, so hey, if you're not from around here, if you're not from by these parts, if you don't belong here, if you're standing out, man, you know, you're gonna be a casualty. You know, because you're not only gonna have to worry about, you know, the authorities and government, but you're gonna have to worry about the people as well, and the animals, and eventually, you know, the heavenly forces, the angels are gonna show up. It's gonna be chaos, and if you ain't got the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshai on your side in that day, then you know it's curtains. So I just wanted to you know, get this message out and give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem. Rakakadash, giving double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who taught me this truth. Salutes and honors to the elect brothers across the four corners who are enduring in both truth and in sincerity of the men and women who follow. Shalom.